I had read all these novels, gay novels, by a group of writers called the Violet Quill. And all those novels were set in big cities. So I decided I wanted to see what big city gay life was like. So in the fall of 1985, I got a part-time position at George Washington University. And I lived in the suburbs of Maryland. And I didn't like all the people. I didn't like all the traffic. I missed the folk culture, the mountains. I realized how much the South and Appalachia had turned me into who I am. And it took leaving it, to really get that. I must have had a little radio with me, and I was up there all alone. And John Denver's Take Me Home Country Roads, Jesus fucking Christ, really? And I remember my grandmother saying, son, homesickness is the worst pain there is. So I just realized it's going to be hard to go back to where I came from and be who I am. People make assumptions about what it means to be a gay man. People make assumptions about what it means to be a mountain person. And that's just simplistic thinking. I'm a college teacher. I don't want them to think simplistically. I want to make complex their perceptions of the world.
Roanoke is such a welcoming place in all the realms that I've been in, shopping at Kroger's or Walmart's or going to the doctors or reading my poetry. I've always been accepted for who I am. When I first made the plan to move down to Roanoke, and I came and checked out this apartment in Old Southwest, I thought, well, this apartment looks good. It's got some nice big closets in it. And so I said, I'll take this one. And then I said, oh, by the way, and this was a young guy that was managing the whole complex, and seemed like a nice guy, young guy. And I said, well, once I get settled, I'm going to start my plan to be full-time female here. And he said, well, that's interesting, because I'm a trans man. And that had totally flown by me. I said, wow. So that was like manna from heaven. It was liberating. Coming out the door of my apartment for the first time, dressed the way I wanted to dress, and walking downtown to the post office. That was exhilarating.
In my freshman year, I was so incredibly homophobic and thought it was weird that in a sociology class, which was huge, hundreds of people, the Gay Student Alliance was going to come and talk. And I was the one that gathered up all of my friends and said, come to my sociology class. The gays are coming. We sat in the back of the classroom and heckled and laughed. I was a geology major, and I met this woman that was also a geology major, and she lived in my dorm. And my compartment, my little crush compartment for her started getting very big and started burgeoning on coming out. But I was like, no. I was dating boys my freshman year, but there was no comparison to how I felt about my girl crush than the boy I was dating. And now, all of a sudden, the beginning of my sophomore year, I'm the gay. I found the Gay Student Alliance at Virginia Tech. What the Gay Student Alliance did at that time was talk to classes. And I admitted that I had done what I had done. And so I wanted to change that. And literally a year later, I was on stage and addressing people in the back of the room that were heckling and making fun of us. and let them know that, yes, I was there last year. I wonder how many of you will be on stage next year.
Oh my God, I love ballroom culture. That is my joy, that is my passion. The whole family, how I get the history of it, I just love it. And I started to look around this area and realize that why isn't ballroom culture here in this area? It's the queer joy at the balls and a safe space for particularly Black and brown queer people can truly celebrate and be themselves, and they can celebrate each other. I was like, we need that magic, that energy, that love here in this area. One of our goals as the House of Expression is to make sure that people are educated about ballroom culture and where it started and who started it. We created Ballroom Pioneers Week. This community was originally started by Black trans women who were told that, oh, you know, you're nothing, you're nobody, but they said, no, we're gonna celebrate ourselves. That's what it means most to me, that joy and that celebration of the outside world can tell you what you're not, but in this space, this is who we are and this is what we can be if given the opportunity. I've had ballroom leaders reach out to me and say, we see what the House of Expression is doing. I'm thinking, wow, little old Roanoke, that someone in New York or Chicago or LA is saying, hey, we see the work that y'all are doing. So that means a lot.
I was working with LGBT groups locally, organically here in Roanoke, and I decided that I wanted to reach back to Virginia Tech as an alumni and to see if they would help with the advocacy, because there was no other organizations that were kind of helping. Virginia Tech accepted me, and they reached out, and I was really surprised as an alumni trying to find my way. And I wasn't fully transitioned, I wasn't out, but I was running a support group, for multiple years at that point. They agreed to do a transgender conference, and they allowed us to use their space. It was the first time that I felt like we were being seen from an institutional level, and that really made a huge difference. I was asked to, come back through some of the alumni folks and be a part of Ex Lapida, and I really wanted to do that. I'm on there so I can understand and give a transgender perspective and bring information back, and I feel like I'm a liaison to the community in a certain way, and it's a meaning of having a seat at the table and maybe having a voice too, and getting a little bit closer to, equity and maybe giving people that are outside of the college realm, that are in the transgender community, hope that, wait a minute, an organization like that's accepting, Dolly, and she's got a position there. That's amazing.